Okay, I'm here with Amber. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
So how old are you?
I'm 31.
31, and how long have you been on the streets?
For the last 10 years.
For the last 10 years, and if you don't mind me asking what it's due to?
It's due to my drug use. I use fentanyl and I use crack.
Crack. So have you had anybody try to help or reach out for help since you've been on the streets?
Yes, I have, and it's been a struggle of mine. You know, whenever it's hard when you're depressed and you're out here, you know, living this life. You know, these girls out here, everybody thinks it's so easy, but it's not. You know, every time you get depressed and you're down and out, and it's not just so easy to let everything go and just, you know, go and take off and get help, you know what I mean? Like, you have your loved ones, your family that you're worried about. The sickness is really tough, you know, to get over. That's one of the biggest things why people don't get clean, you know? And that was mine at first. I was so scared to go through the withdrawal, and it was like nobody wanted to understand and give us what we needed to get through that. And then the tools that you need, you know, like people say that they're there, but then whenever, you know, it boils down to it, you know, they're not. And I feel like some places they could do a lot better, you know?
So is this due to your childhood? How was your childhood growing up?
My childhood was good. I mean, I was sexually assaulted and abused when I was younger. And I wouldn't blame anything on, I mean, it could, but I would say mainly it was because I got really sick when I was younger. I was 17 and I had a stomach infection and I got on pain pills. And before that was before like my parents, nobody knew really what, you know, addiction was at that time. And it just led from that to me buying pills on the street, and then to fentanyl. And I was young, you know, when I started, and it was like, so I never realized what the sickness was, you know. So
did it affect you going to school and graduating?
Yes, it did. I didn't graduate school. I have 3 kids. I have 2 boys and a daughter with 2 different men. They're very good dads. They help me out so much. I couldn't ask for better people to have kids with. I'm so grateful to have them, you know. And it's just, you know, I would think, you know, being a parent, you know, people say that how could you, you know, turn your back on your kids, you know, do anything for my kids. I never thought that, you know, there could be anything that would ever make me turn my back on my kids like I did, you know. And I feel so guilty for that. But drugs take a hold of you, and you would never believe, you know, what it does to you and how it changes a person.
So how long have you been without your kids?
I see my daughter from time to time, but I haven't seen my boys for 5 years.
5.
And their dad don't really let me talk to them or nothing. And at first I thought it was because he was just trying to protect them, but you know, I was trying to protect them too, because at the beginning I gave them to their dad because I knew my drug use was getting out of control. I didn't want to expose them to anything. My kids didn't even know what drugs were. You know, they thought alcohol was drugs. And so I tried to shelter them from that. And, you know, I had visitation with them. I wouldn't be high or nothing, but he took advantage of the situation and went and got full custody of my kids. And, you know, I tried to reach out and get help at that time. And I felt like the guardian of light let me down, you know, because of my drug use. They didn't do that much investigation into it. They just took his word automatically. And they seen that I had a past, you know, and they judged me for that. And I don't think it's right. They didn't see that I was willing to give my kids over to their dad. I didn't have to have children's services get involved or none of that. You know, I tried to make the right decision on my own for my kids, what was best for them. And, you know, they didn't. It was like the system's all fucked up, you know.
So have you had any attempts to go get clean?
I have. I tried to get on the methadone clinic. That's what seemed to work best for me. Because like I said, the sickness is what's hard for me to get over. But besides that, I went to treatment center, Mary Haven, but it seems like a lot of people in my family are ill. I've lost my 2 brothers, one of them to addiction, the other one to liver cancer and colon cancer. And, wow. You know, my mom, she has colon cancer and lung cancer too. and she beat it both, but she's sick every day, and it's hard to see her suffer. And that's one reason why getting clean is hard, because the struggle dealing with that, being depressed, it's like that's what I run to, is the drugs to cope with it. And and it's just a downhill spiral. Everything I do, it's like anytime I get upset, or I run, I use. That's my problem, And I try to reach out to family members and friends, but those are the people that that you're around every day that causes you to use. It's triggers. It's hard to get away from everything, people, places, things. It's hard to change your whole life around whenever you're and that's what you need to do when you're an addict.
So what was the longest you stayed sober when you got out of treatment?
I would say the longest I've ever been sober was 21 days, and that was because I was in the workhouse.
Okay, so...
But in treatment, I would say I was clean for 14 days, and then I was on the methadone program for 3 months. So
your childhood?
My childhood...
Does the abuse and have what to do with you being on the streets? Do you think the pain that you went through?
It was a little bit, I would say, because, my parents tried to deal with it the best they could, but I didn't come out and tell them what was really going on until later on, in my life, and they felt a lot of guilt from that, and I think that's another reason why there wasn't much structure and they let me, get away with a lot, which is what also I feel like caused me to be able to use and do things that I shouldn't have been able to do, which helped me spiral out of control,
So it was too late at that point?
Yeah.
You was just too deep. What age did your mom and dad find out?
Not until I was 16.
And that was through the prescriptions that you were getting?
Yeah, my mom knew something was going on because I was sick, and she took me to the doctor. They found out it was because I was having withdrawal, and she tried to learn as much as she could about what addiction was. But, not going through it and not being on it yourself, it's hard to understand, And my dad, he takes pain pills himself, but it's not that, like, takes them like they're prescribed. So therefore, it's not like that type of addiction. So he don't necessarily understand either. Because
he's able to take his on time.
Right, and so therefore when I would be ill or sick or want something, he would, give them to me, and that just made my addiction worse.
So do you think about going and getting clean?
I do, and I want to, because I would love to have my kids back in my life and be able to be there with my mom and my dad. My mom's really ill, like I said, and the one thing she asked me is to get clean and be able to be back with my kids before she passed away.
Now, are you homeless now, or do you have a place to stay?
I'm homeless now.
You are homeless now?
I'm bouncing around from place to place. It's hard and it's cold. It's about to be, it rains all the time, like, and you're constantly getting, yelled at for being on somebody's property or being in a vacant lot. The cops are coming out wanting to arrest you, and if you go to the shelter, you have to be in there by 8 o'clock, and if you're sick, you're not going to go, and so that's hard to have somewhere to go and stay, because you can't just come and go as you please.
So you being a woman out here, has it been a problem with the men?
I would say yes. But doing what I do, because I do, dates and stuff like that.
We're almost done.
And so therefore, it is. But that's because I put myself, I feel like, in the situations I do, and there's men out here, that aren't too nice. They will, try to rip you off, hit you, try to, take off with you, kidnap you. I've been smacked. I've been, almost raped. I haven't been raped out here yet, but I've been almost raped where, it was so close, and I was lucky I got away, and that scared me a lot. And I'm still out here, though, the drugs really have a hold on me, and, I don't know what more it's going to take for me to get clean, and I wish that I had more people that could help me and be there for me, because my family isn't able to anymore like they would. They would if they could,
So you just have yourself? Has anybody reached out, like from the churches or anything, come out to talk to you?
I have one friend, and his name is Chuck Tyree, and he helps me out a lot. And he's tried to help me out a lot, and a lot of people don't give him praise enough for, what he does for the homeless people out here. And I just want to thank him. And my baby dad also, his name is Keith Bragg, and he helps me out a lot. You know, he has his own struggle with addiction too, but, you know, if there was anything I told him or I needed him to do for me, I believe he would do it. And, you know, I would want to thank him too. And if my parents were well, they would be here for me, but they're not, and they can't anymore. So, you know, I just wish it was more easy and accessible to get help and actually be able to, you know, like, find out information and stuff like that.
Well, I do have some info on, like, places for the rehabs and stuff for you to go if you do want to try to get clean again. We're pretty much finished here, and I wish you the best, Amber. Thank you for talking to me today. I really appreciate it, and I hope everything goes well. And
well, I hope this will help people out there, you know, who has addiction like me and going through problems as I.
And that's what it was about. Okay. So this video will help somebody.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you too.
No problem.